Hello everyone and welcome back to Comic Beyond. And in this episode we're talking about the Superman Aliens crossover from Dark Horse Comics and DC Comics. So I'm going to be honest with you, I like Superman stories and I like Alien stories. But this one here, reading it, was very slow paced compared to some of the other Alien or Predator crossovers we've been doing here lately. A lot of the other stories we've been doing are covered. They're very action-oriented, and they hit the ground running, and it's just a really fast adventure-type story. Well, this one's an adventure-type story, but for me, as the reader, this story was just very, very slow. But it had its good moments. Honestly, to me, like, the first half of this story is, if you just take away the Superman element, honestly, the first half is basically just your generic Alien story, to be honest with you. But, so our story goes, so, Clark and Lois, they're in Metropolis, and then they are summoned by the new leadership or head of LexCorp, and they find that there's going to be this probe coming towards Earth, or a ship, and, so they want to retrieve it, they want to get it. So Clark goes to cover it, and of course, he says, well, what's going on? What is this? And they're trying to get information on the trip. Well, he's like, oh, it's coming in, and it'll probably get destroyed when it hits, land. So he, using his heat vision, he ends up getting them to land the chopper, the helicopter, so he can make a, dash to go and save it as Superman. So he does. It hits the water, but he retrieves it and puts it on the research vessel from LexCorp. And he feels compelled to, touch it. And when he does, he kind of gets this, message, or, he feels connected to it because of, it's Kryptonian. He finds out it's from Krypton. And he's like, well, one, I can't let Kryptonian stuff fall in the hands of anybody related with Lex or LexCorp, because they're just bad news. And, but the message he gets from it is, it's like a distress beacon, almost like a buoy. And, so he finds out that there's some Kryptonians that might be still alive, or they might be dead, or they just really need help. So, Clark, or Superman at this point, he relays the message to the leader of the LexCorp, and he's like, I need to get to him, I need to see if there's any survivors, or what's going on here. And, so they loan him a ship, that way it helps him travel far distance. Well, while that's going on, and I forget her name, but the leader of LexCorp and Lois Lane, they're on a LexCorp space station, where they're launching the ship from. So Clark goes, and then he ends up having to put the Kryptonians that are still alive or in some kind of stasis on board the ship to send them back, and he ends up staying behind on this asteroid, this planet. And there he ends up meeting a girl named Kara, and it turns out that it's she's from Krypton, and, he knows that she's going to have the same abilities he does. Well, she ends up helping him out because he comes across the Xenomorph, and it's Superman, so he wants to give everybody a fighting chance. He doesn't know not to mess with the Xenomorph, that they're dangerous. So he does. And then, just to speed the story up, and I don't want to give too much away because of the ending. The ending's actually kind of sad, especially on Superman's part. But, he ends up getting Kara, and then they end up having to hurry up and get back to the space station where he launched from. Because what he didn't know when he sent those survivors back to the station is that they were impregnated with, the alien. And so Kara tells him that, and so he's like, oh my god, I gotta do this. And of course, in traditional fashion with Superman books, and these type of Superman books, he gets depowered, his power level goes down really low, so he's not at full strength, so they can't get back, just fly. So they end up having to work their way back to where Lois and them are, and they do. Kara ends up sacrificing herself. He ends up getting to Lois, saving her from the xenomorphs that had just bursted their way out of the survivors, or they thought were survivors. And I apologize if you can hear my cat Maze, but she's helping me on this. So that's the story, and it's very drug out because there's a lot of backstory from previous Superman comics that had happened previous to this. One of those stories being that he had to kill like a different universe's Zod, almost like Man of Steel. So he's bringing that baggage into this story with him, but it's to me it kind of drug down the story a little bit. It's only a 3-issue miniseries, and they pack so much information in, like story-wise, just because then you get up to the ending or whatever. And I don't want to spoil the ending for anybody. But I think the book could have done a little bit better without having to put all the much needed old dialogue of, I had to do this, or, this happened to me not that long ago and it's happening again, yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, if you're a Superman fan, you're going to like it because it really holds well to the Superman character. There's a part of the story where, he has the option to use a weapon to kill a xenomorph, and he refuses because he doesn't want to kill the xenomorph or use a weapon. And then there's a funny moment at the end of the book. But, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it just wasn't my cup of tea. But I would suggest checking it out, especially if you're a fan of either, or if you just want to check out an interesting crossover with Superman again. My nitpick is it's just not the characters you mix. You don't, like the Superman Predator one, to me that doesn't work as well as this, the Batman or the Batman Alien book kind of lends itself a little bit better than this book. But it was good. I'm sure it's on Comixology. It's probably been collected. Mine are the single issues, but you can find those on eBay, Amazon, places like that if you want to check it out. But I suggest it because those old DC Dark Horse 90s comics, they're just really fun to read. You never know what you're going to get with those. Like, this was my first time reading this book. I wasn't really sure what I was going to expect, And honestly, the aliens really don't play a big part up until maybe the end of the book, when things start, coming together with the plot and stuff. They're at the beginning, they're a little bit in the middle, and then they come back for the final. So, yeah, that's it for the Superman Aliens crossover. Check it out. And if you do like this, please like and subscribe.